I'm going to keep the glasses on for this one. I need you to know that I'm taking this very seriously. We're talking Meg 2. It's no laughing matter.
You serious?
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking Meg.
Shut up, Meg.
Leave your thoughts down below on the first movie. Were you looking forward to this? Did you know it was coming out this weekend? Because I didn't. Let's talk about it. All right, dive into uncharted waters with Jason Statham as we lead a daring research team on an exploratory dive into the deepest depths of the ocean. Their voyage spirals into chaos, that's a strong word, into chaos when a malevolent mining operation threatens their mission and pits them against some colossal Megs. It's a race against time, it's pulse pounding, it's exciting. And it's rated PG-13 for brief suggestive material, action, violence, language, bloody images, all the things you expect in the Meg. I want a bloody good time. When I watch a movie like The Meg, you're hoping it's going to be rated R. Well, it's not quite that, but you can push the boundaries with PG-13, right? Can you?
Shut up, Meg.
Like I said, Jason Statham's in this movie. Paige Kennedy, Skylar Samuels, Wu Jing. There's a really good cast in here, but let's be honest. You sign up for a movie like this, a sequel to a first film that is fun for what it is to a lot of people. I didn't quite love the first movie. I thought it was way more boring than it should have been. It should have been the schlocky, outlandish B movie, and it hits those notes at times, but there are other times where I'm like, this is a big missed opportunity because the movie's boring. Make it more fun.
Boring.
Then we have the sequel, and our director here is Ben Wheatley, who brought us a movie in High Rise, which I actually didn't hate, Free Fire, which I found to be quite a bit of fun. I was disappointed in Rebecca, but I know he's a competent director, and I was really interested to see what kind of style he was going to bring not only to this franchise, but to the idea of what could be on the level of a Jurassic Park-ish, Jaws-ish type of movie. We know it's not going to be that level of quality, but at least have fun with it, right? Does Meg 2 have fun with itself? It sounded weird.
Ew! What the?
No, it doesn't. I didn't even feel Ben Wheatley as our director here, and it's so disappointing, right? You have an idea that can expand on the world and the lore of the Meg, not just one Meg. There are multiple opportunities here to showcase these big beasts on screen and just not take this type of story seriously at all. But what the Meg 2 does, or the Trench, or Meg 2, or whatever it's called, even though we start with this really out-of-place Jason Statham action sequence, which was admittedly kind of fun, but you're like, that's not what this movie is. All right, well, that's obligatory. Jason Statham signed on, and we know what he does best. Let's include it in the film. But then we go into this underwater research center, and we're trying to hit on or scratch the surface of the idea that maybe a Meg, or this Meg that we're looking at, can be contained, controlled. Can it? So off the bat, there's a sequence where someone's floating in the water. They're trying to test these boundaries. They're trying to, build up that intensity through this moment. But you're not really in it yet. You're not really feeling anything for the characters. And frankly, I forgot so much about the first film. I kept having to remind myself, okay, he was in the first one. She wasn't, but she was. Was she? Should I have rewatched the first film right before this? Probably. Was I ever going to do that? No. But let's be honest here, guys. The story, the script, the cast that shows up. Look, there's some talented people in here. Jason Statham, very talented, very physical type of actor, right? But they're showing up and they're saying, thank you so much for that paycheck. What do I have to do? And not exerting any extra effort to make their characters slightly, ever so slightly more appealing. There may be one or two, and I'll let you decipher who that is as you're watching the film, but you're so uninterested in their arcs, in their development, because frankly, there are no arcs worthwhile in this movie. There is barely any character development.
Nothing.
You had the fallout of the last movie. Some people didn't make it, so you're going to raise the stakes. You're going to elevate that by, taking our crew, putting them in these dire circumstances, and pushing the limits with that, right? These sharks, could pick off most of our crew before this movie's over, elevate the stakes, amplify the intensity to make it to where we as an audience, we're on the edge of our seat going, okay, who's it gonna get next? What's gonna happen next? I mean, we showed up to this movie to see humans, specifically Statham, versus a megalodon, and that clip they keep putting out for everybody to see, it's like the only clip they've used to promote this movie is the Meg versus a dinosaur. That's not a spoiler. That's the only clip they've released in this film. At least that's what it feels like. And you get that for like half a second, and then it's an hour and 20 minutes of being in this underground facility and then diving into the ocean, being in the water. Oh, they're in the water. There's a chance we see more than 30 seconds of a megalodon. Scratch that. We see the Meg all throughout the movie, and you know what it's doing? It's just swimming. It's swimming through the water. The whole movie, it just swims right by and side-eyes you, just like... And you know what's happening the rest of the time? Characters are arguing. They're like, we shouldn't have this research facility underwater. What are we doing exactly? Controlling the Meg?
I don't know.
We're gonna go and we're gonna take these research computers.
Well, yeah, but I'm Jason
Statham,
and
we don't
here's
want
my
you to do
crew,
research
and
anymore,
I'm an
'cause
action
you're
star,
researching,
and I have this
you got-
obligatory
you're doing
action
the
scene at the beginning,
megalodon,
you
and
can't
there's
take
all
our
sorts of
research computers
megalodons
'cause we gotta
swimming out in the
research.
water.
And
What am I watching? I don't care about any of this. Give me what you promised in the trailer, a schlocky, over-the-top B movie. Make it to where you take what worked in the first film, you elevate that, and you give us something fun. Can you at least do that? No? Well, what is this? What am I watching? Everything about this film, up until the final 20-ish minutes where they finally say, you know what? We have a really cool opportunity to do something here. But we're going to make people sit and wait an hour and 35, 40 minutes before we do anything remotely interesting, other than that Jason Statham action scene at the beginning. And then it's just people talking, arguing. Eventually, they get in the scuba suits and they go underwater and they're walking and they see some cool creatures and cool animals, but the visual effects aren't that good. And even when one character he may be in danger, she may be taken out by this creature, they're like, no, it's a PG-13 movie. We can't do something too fun, innovative, or interesting. We have to just keep it boring. Uninteresting shots, uninteresting cinematography, mediocre, lackluster, at times terrible visual effects. Yes, the Meg looks fine when it's swimming from left to right, but that's about all the Meg does until the end of the film. And once again, I had some fun with the final 20 minutes, but is it worth sitting there for that long, waiting for something interesting to happen when they're doing all of this mumbo jumbo and talking about all of this nonsense that's not... It's not important. I mean, it's important, right? But it's not interesting. I like Wheatley's work. I enjoy Statham. I like sharks. Why isn't this a beautiful marriage? It should have been beautiful. It's not. It's the opposite.
What is wrong with you people?
And then at the end, frankly, you get what you pay for. You get this over-the-top, violent series of moments with Statham, the Megalodon, some other things that happen. I'll leave that up to your experience in the theater. Get excited. Before I give you my score, what did you think about Meg 2? Did you have fun with it? Look, it will work for some. That's fine. I guess I just expected a different film, but I wanted to relate to at least one character or one moment, and I just didn't feel that way. And the 20 minutes of fun-ish at the end, it just wasn't really well. We'll talk about that. Leave your comments and drop a like if I wasn't too mean. I'm not apologizing. Meg 2 promises to deliver over-the-top thrills, but rarely capitalizes on that. This sequel is as lifeless as its characters, and the payoff at the end is not worth the egregiously long build-up. Not as good as the first, and I wasn't even a big fan of the first, so it is significantly worse, in my opinion. This is not a reflection on the filmmaker. It's not a reflection on some of the actors involved. It just feels like one of those sequels that the studio greenlit and said, here, do it. And they said, okay. So those are my thoughts. I'm going to go I'll watch Oppenheimer again, probably.